What's going on, guys? It's your boy John, the Liquidator, coming back with another video. Look like Team USA is forcing Caitlin Clark to change her infamous 22 number to a new one. Guys, for this one here, we got to go all the way up to Indy. Let's get it. Let's go. Everybody's having a great day today. Happy Thanksgiving. Eat lots of food and definitely be safe and spend time with your family. I don't know how many videos is going to come out the pipeline today. I'm going to spend a lot of time with my family that I don't get to see very often. Thanksgiving is at my...
Here's what nobody's talking about yet. USA Basketball just made a decision that's sending shockwaves through the entire women's basketball world. And it's not what you think. They're forcing Caitlin Clark, the most recognizable player in women's sports right now, to abandon her iconic number 22. But here's the part that makes this go from questionable to absolutely absurd. Nobody else is even wearing the number. Let that sink in for a second. They're stripping her of her identity for literally no reason. This isn't about roster conflicts. This isn't about veteran respect. This is about something much deeper, and many of you have been sensing this pattern for months now. The official roster just dropped for USA Basketball's training camp in North Carolina, December 12th through the 14th. And there it is in black and white. Caitlin Clark, number 17, not 22. The number that's become synonymous with her record-breaking college career, her historic WNBA debut, the number that millions of fans instantly recognize is being taken away. If you believe the story behind the story matters, if you think Caitlin Clark deserves better treatment from the organization that's supposed to represent the best of American basketball, smash that like button right now. It tells us we're on the right track with this investigation. Let's filter out the noise and focus on the facts here. Caitlin Clark's number 22 isn't just any jersey number. It's become the single most recognizable number in women's sports. Period. There's no debate about this. From her jaw-dropping performances at the University of Iowa, where she shattered scoring records, to her record-breaking rookie season in the WNBA, that number 22 has become inseparable from her identity. It's a beacon that fans instantly recognize across arenas, on television screens, on merchandise flying off the shelves. To millions of people, it's not just digits on a jersey. It's a legacy in the making. Her entire brand, her narrative, her incredible journey are all intrinsically linked to that number. It embodies those audacious long-range shots from the logo, that court vision that seems superhuman, and the sheer competitive will that has captivated an audience far beyond traditional basketball fans. She's become synonymous with 22 the same way Michael Jordan became synonymous with 23, or Wayne Gretzky with 99. So when USA Basketball decides to demand a change now, at the peak of her influence, it feels like an attempt to dilute that powerful connection. And here's what makes this even more perplexing. The number isn't being used by anyone else on the roster. Read that again. Nobody else is wearing 22. This isn't a case where a veteran has been wearing the number for years and has an established claim. This isn't a situation where there's a legitimate conflict that needs resolution. The number is simply sitting there, unused, while the biggest star in women's basketball is being told she can't have it. That detail transforms this entire situation from a potential roster logistics issue into what many are perceiving as an overt act of marginalization against the most impactful player of her generation. You were onto something when you noticed the pattern of how USA Basketball has been treating Caitlin Clark. This isn't the first time they've seemingly undervalued her unprecedented influence. Earlier this year, she was conspicuously left off the Olympic roster, a decision that baffled millions of fans and analysts given her undeniable global appeal and the massive viewership numbers she commands. Then came the snub from promotional materials and team coverage that didn't match her star power. This pattern of overlooking or undermining her rising star status continues to fuel speculation that there's a deeper agenda at play, a resistance to fully embracing the game changer she represents for women's basketball.
to change her number. Now, this article has come out early this morning about the matter, so this could be the first time you guys is hearing about this. But let's blow it up and let's dive right into the story, man. It states Caitlin Clark, Team USA number change turns heads. Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark will be wearing a foreign number the next time she competes on a basketball court. Hold up, wait a minute. Now, we know the 2026 basketball season is up in the air, which that's a whole nother video too that we have to discuss, because the CBA agreement is down to like 3-4 days, man.
The timing of this announcement couldn't be more calculated either. This news breaks just as Caitlin Clark's global fame has reached unprecedented levels. She's bringing millions of new eyes to women's basketball, driving ticket sales through the roof, generating merchandise revenue that's breaking records. The Indiana Fever saw their attendance numbers explode this year, and a massive part of that surge is directly attributable to Clark's star power and the number 22 that fans want to see on the court. Think about the marketing alone. How many number 22 Caitlin Clark jerseys have been sold in the past year? How much brand equity has been built around that specific number? And now USA Basketball wants to just erase all of that for their training camp and potentially beyond. It's a move that makes absolutely no business sense, which is why so many people are questioning the real motivations behind it. Let's connect some dots that the mainstream coverage isn't discussing. We're getting into analysis territory here, but sources close to the situation suggest this decision might be connected to internal power dynamics within USA Basketball's leadership structure. There are whispers about established veterans who may feel threatened by Clark's meteoric rise and the way she's dominating media attention. Not officially confirmed, but the breadcrumbs lead to some uncomfortable questions about whether this number change is really about logistics or about putting a rising star in her place. The official word from USA Basketball is that Caitlin Clark will be wearing number 17 for the upcoming training camp. 17, a number that means nothing to her legacy, nothing to her fans, nothing to her brand identity. It's a generic placeholder that strips away the visual identity she's built over years of dominant play. And here's another layer to this situation that makes it even more frustrating for fans. Aja Wilson, one of the WNBA's biggest stars and a fantastic player in her own right, also wears number 22 for the Las Vegas Aces. The question of how Clark and Wilson would handle the number situation has been a topic of conversation before, particularly around all-star games. But historically, these situations have been resolved through mutual respect and conversation, not by preemptively forcing one player to change. Last year, the potential conflict between Clark and Wilson regarding the number was circumvented when Clark didn't participate in certain events due to injury. That meant the hypothetical question of how they'd share or decide on the number never fully materialized. It was left hanging as a future consideration that would be handled diplomatically when the time came. But now USA Basketball has apparently decided to solve this problem unilaterally in a way that many fans perceive as entirely one-sided. They've pushed Clark into a new number without any apparent negotiation, without any public explanation of why this drastic measure was necessary, especially considering Wilson won't even be the only one wearing 22, since nobody is being assigned that number. Let me ask you something in the comments below. Do you think USA Basketball is intentionally trying to diminish Caitlin Clark's brand, or is this just terrible decision-making? Because from where we're sitting, this looks like a pattern, not an accident. Drop your thoughts below, and let's see if we're all connecting the same dots here. Now, Caitlin Clark isn't the only WNBA star who proudly wears number 22. Aja Wilson is a phenomenal talent and respected veteran who also rocks that number with the Aces. Cameron Brink wears it. Even the legendary Cheryl Swoops built part of her legacy with 22. The number has a storied history in women's basketball, and each player who's worn it carries their own accomplishments and meaning with those digits. However, and this is crucial to understand, None of these players have achieved the immediate universal recognition and cultural penetration that Caitlin Clark has brought to the number 22 in such a short span of time. We're talking about someone who's transcended basketball in a way that's unprecedented for women's sports. Her number 22 has become a cultural phenomenon, recognizable to people who don't even follow basketball. That's the power of what she's built. So when USA Basketball makes the decision to force her specifically to change, when the number isn't even being used by anyone else on this particular roster, it feels particularly jarring. It's not like they're asking multiple players to defer or rotate. They're singling out the biggest star in the sport and telling her that her identity doesn't matter here. And speaking of patterns of disrespect, we need to talk about the broader context of what's happening in the WNBA right now, because this number situation doesn't exist in a vacuum. The collective bargaining agreement is down to its final days, and the threat of a lockout is very, very real. Players across the league are tired of feeling undervalued by team owners who are profiting from the unprecedented growth these athletes have generated. Many of you have been saying this for weeks in the comments. The players deserve better compensation. The sentiment from sources close to the negotiations is clear. These athletes are ready to stand firm for what they deserve. We're hearing demands for contracts in the $1 to $2 million range, which, when you compare it to the revenue they're generating and the value they bring, is absolutely reasonable. Some people might argue about $5 or $10 million contracts, but $1 to $2 million. That's fair compensation for elite athletes who are transforming their sport.
Ain't no way around it. Ain't no shaking it. I believe the owners is being very, very disrespectful to the women. They definitely deserve $1 million contract. Now, do they deserve 5, 10? I don't believe so, but 1.1 to 2 million, yes, they deserve that, bro. We all can agree on that. I've never been one to say that the women don't deserve their money, because they definitely do. Now, goes on to say there's a case to be made that Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark, number 22, is the most recognizable number in women's sports right now. There's no argument to be made. There's no case to be made. Caitlin Clark, number 22, is the most...
When you're operating in a climate where players already feel disrespected about their worth, where they're fighting for basic recognition of their value, an action like forcing your biggest superstar to change her iconic number just adds fuel to an already raging fire. It's another data point in a larger narrative of perceived disregard for what female athletes bring to the table. This specific slight against Caitlin Clark also serves as a stark reminder of the broader challenges women in sports, particularly in the WNBA, continue to face. The fight isn't just about numbers on jerseys. It's about equitable pay, better travel conditions, increased media recognition, and being treated with the same respect that male athletes receive as a baseline expectation. When your most visible star is treated this way, it sends a message through the entire league, reinforcing long-standing frustrations and highlighting systemic issues that still persist despite the sport's recent surge in popularity. The official training camp roster that dropped provided concrete evidence of everything we've been discussing. There it was, plain as day, Caitlin Clark listed with number 17. The confirmation left no room for doubt about this forced change. Fans who had hoped the initial reports might have been speculative or premature saw their fears realized in black and white. What makes this even more telling is looking at the rest of the roster. Players like Angel Reese are listed with their familiar numbers, indicating that not every athlete on this roster faced such a dramatic change. This contrast further highlights the unique situation Clark finds herself in. It's not a universal mandate being applied across the board to everyone. It's a specific redirection for the one player who's currently commanding the most attention, driving the most viewership, generating the most buzz. Reading between the lines, this feels targeted, whether intentionally or not. And in the court of public opinion, intention matters less than impact. The impact is clear. The biggest star in women's basketball is being told to abandon her identity, while nobody else even wants the number she's being forced to give up. Here's something fascinating that highlights just how far Caitlin Clark has come. Old footage from 2017 shows a younger Clark playing high school basketball wearing number 11, not 22. She's worn different numbers throughout her journey, which is normal for any athlete. But number 22 is undeniably the one she made iconic at the collegiate level with Iowa and then carried into her professional career. That's where the legend was built. That's where millions of fans came to associate those two digits with excellence, with impossible shots, with must-see basketball. This historical context doesn't diminish the impact of USA Basketball's current decision. If anything, it underscores the profound attachment and identity she's built around the number they're now forbidding her to wear. She chose 22, she made it legendary, and now it's being stripped away at the peak of that legend. And here's the beautiful irony in all of this. While USA Basketball struggles to fully embrace Caitlin Clark's star power, the rest of the world has no problem recognizing her impact. Hip-hop legend Lil Wayne recently spoke about Caitlin Clark during a visit to Des Moines, Iowa, expressing his admiration and familiarity with what she's accomplished. A cultural icon completely outside of basketball instantly recognizes her monumental influence and household name status. Think about that for a second. Lil Wayne, one of the most successful artists in music history, knows exactly who Caitlin Clark is and speaks glowingly about her impact. Yet the national governing body for basketball appears to be making choices that undermine her established brand. The contrast between outside recognition and internal decisions could not be more glaring. It raises serious questions about who truly understands the pulse of modern sports and which players are driving unprecedented growth. This forced number change is more than a logistical detail on a roster sheet. It's a symbolic act that speaks volumes about power dynamics, respect-wise, and the future direction of women's basketball. Whether USA Basketball intended this message or not, they're sending a clear signal about who holds authority and how rising legends are treated when they challenge established norms or grow too big too fast. The question millions of fans are asking isn't just why this happened. It's what lasting impact this decision will have on Caitlin Clark's relationship with USA Basketball, on the broader WNBA landscape, and on how the next generation of superstars will be treated when they reach this level of influence. Before we wrap up, if you want to stay ahead of these stories, if you want the analysis that goes deeper than the surface headlines, make sure you're subscribed to this channel with notifications turned on. We've got more coming on the CBA negotiations, the potential lockout, and what all of this means for the future of women's basketball. You won't want to miss what we're uncovering next. Here's the bottom line. USA Basketball just told their biggest star that her identity doesn't matter, that the number she's made iconic can be taken away on a whim, even when nobody else is using it. And the fans? The fans are watching closely. They see the pattern, they see the disrespect, and they're not staying quiet about it. Neither are we. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.